Huh. So this movie gives us two Seth Rogens for the price of one. Sold. An American Pickle was directed by Trost, written by Simon Rich based off of his short story, and it stars Seth Rogen as Herschel and Ben Greenbaum. So the movie starts us off in the early 20th century with Rogen playing Herschel, a struggling laborer who immigrates to America in 1919. And he's got aspirations of building a better life for his beloved family, including his beloved wife Sarah, played by Snook. And he ends up finding a job at a pickle factory, and one day he takes this gigantic plunge into a gigantic vat of pickles, and the factory soon afterwards is shut down. But Herschel is left behind, and get this, he literally is left in the vat and he literally brines there for 100 years. And this pickle brine preserves him perfectly, and when he emerges in present-day Brooklyn, he finds that he hasn't even aged a day. But when he seeks out his family, he learns that his only surviving relative is his great-grandson Ben, also played by Rogen. And Ben is a more mild-mannered, laid-back computer coder whom Herschel can't even begin to understand, really. And this movie basically follows their trials and tribulations together, which leads to various comedic moments of sabotage, as well as some heartwarming family bonding. So before I get any further in this review, guys, thank you so much, as always, for stopping by and clicking on the video. If you're new here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button as hard as you possibly can so you don't miss any of my future videos, and also please make sure to leave a like by the end. But with that, let's talk about what might be one of the strangest films I've ever seen in my life. And I honestly mean strange in the best way possible. This movie, I can honestly say, is one of the most original, unique, and bizarre ideas I've ever seen put to screen. Trost, a frequent collaborator with Seth Rogen, makes his debut behind the camera, and he does a great job, by the way. His direction complements Simon Rich's story so well. And this movie's writer is also similar to the old guard, also the author of the source material. And I honestly think that definitely helps the movie. And I gotta commend Simon Rich so much because this is just so different from anything else I've ever seen. And it makes the film feel wholly unique, and trust me, not everybody's going to like this movie. You gotta have a really vast suspension of disbelief in order to enjoy this. I mean, this is a kind of a weird comparison, but this movie reminded me a lot of Swiss Army Man. Some of you guys might remember Swiss Army Man. Daniel Radcliffe's in this movie. He plays a dead guy, and Paul Dano comes across him, and basically the dead guy becomes Paul Dano's best friend. It's so weird, but another story for another video. Even though I got flashbacks still watching Swiss Army Man, it's not as strange, bizarre, or even as good as Swiss Army Man, I think. But that's not to say I didn't have a blast watching An American Pickle. And a lot of that, I think, hinges on Seth Rogen's fantastic performance here. Seriously, he is so good. Now, as the great-grandson Ben, he's pretty much what we all expect Seth Rogen to be like. You know, the charm, the endearment, the laughs. I'm sorry, I had to. But yeah, I think you guys get my point. Ben is pretty much what we expect Seth Rogen to be, but where I think his performance really shines through is when you add Herschel to the mix. Seth Rogen literally disappears into Herschel. The accent he has, perfect. The costume design for both characters, perfect. It really helps accentuate the difference. And I gotta be honest, even without the costumes or the voices, these performances are so great that I honestly forgot a few times watching this. I had to remind myself that I was watching Seth Rogen play both dudes. And Rogen has got a lot of material to work with. He's pretty much on screen for the entire 90 minutes, and it's really solid character work. Honestly, don't be surprised if this is a dark horse pick for Best Actor at the Academy Awards. He was so good. And I thought all the actors involved did a really great job. Snook as Herschel's wife Sarah in the limited screen time she has, really solid work. And like I said, I love love the production design of this movie as well. Like I said, the costumes really accentuates the best of both worlds that Seth Rogen has encountered here. I also love how the beginning of the film in 1919 has that smaller aspect ratio, and then once Seth Rogen falls into the vat and we get that huge time lapse, it goes right back to the more traditional HD format that we're all used to these days. I'm really surprised I'm saying this. This was a lot more fun than I was expecting. But unfortunately, that's not to say that the film is completely devoid of some issues, because I do have a couple of them. Now, the biggest issue that I have is quite a recurring thing to occur throughout this movie, sadly. Now, as you guys are all aware by this point, I am a huge advocate for the proper use of exposition, in the sense of not having to over-explain everything. But in this movie, like I said, you really need to be very willing to suspend your disbelief to really buy into everything. And there's a couple of events that occur in this movie, without getting too much into spoilers, that I honestly feel like needed a little bit more explanation. And trust me, I'm just as surprised saying this to you guys as you guys probably are right now, but there's a lot of times in this movie where ridiculous events will happen, and then you think the film will explain them, and then you just have Seth Rogen narrate that these events were explained, not necessarily to the audience, but we as the audience just pretty much have to accept it. I don't know, for me, that just made it hard to suspend my disbelief. But honestly, guys, once Herschel meets Ben and that whole relationship gets going, that's where this movie gets really good. And I think this movie's at least worth checking out. I'm gonna give An American Pickle a B+. Without question, one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. Like I said, lots of flashbacks to when I watched Swiss Army Man for the first time. And not everybody is going to enjoy this movie, just because of how outlandish it is. But honestly, taking the weirdness out of the way, this is still a very socially relevant film, in addition to being a spectacular acting showcase for Seth Rogen. But yeah, I think it's worth checking out. It's on HBO Max right now. If you guys have seen An American Pickle already, or you want to see it, let me know what you guys thought of the movie down in the comments section below. I'm curious. And thank you so much once again for watching the video. Please be sure to leave a thumbs up on the video if you like it. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button as hard as you possibly can on your way out. We are so very close to hitting that 100 subscriber mark for the channel. Thank you guys so much for your support so far. And I'll tell you guys what, if you guys can help me at least get to that 100 subscriber mark, you guys are going to get a very special surprise video from me. Because you guys are the best, and I want to give you guys what you guys want. More fun content. Speaking of, look forward to more reviews very soon. I've got more Christopher Nolan reviews coming up, so look out for those. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.